Happy Tuesday, everybody. Here we are mid-month and today's leadership call. I'm super excited to have Kaylie Kroup on today because, well, she's amazing and she's probably one of the sweetest and kindest souls you'll probably ever meet. I might be a little bit biased, but whatever. But truly, this girl's story is one that is absolutely incredible to listen to. So I'm looking forward to having her share with you guys a lot today, actually, about the ups and downs, about what she plans on doing this year to attack the year, and kind of share a little bit about how she got started and her journey thus far. So Kaylie, I'm gonna just shut up because you guys know I will babble my mouth and I'm gonna let you take the lead.
I said, oh God, me and Amanda on a Zoom, we're both talkers. You're all in trouble today. So okay, so I actually got started like 8 years ago, and obviously this wasn't my first company. For those who know me, the whole point and reason that I even found this was I actually was working full time at a hospital. I did insurance and I actually loved my job. I worked in the emergency room up front and did insurance, and it was exciting and it was something different every day, and I loved doing what I was doing. But after I had my second baby, I started seeing these posts about, like, oh my gosh, owning your own time and working from home and these bonuses and all this stuff. And I'm like, why can't I do that? Like, I want to be home more. I didn't get to be home, with my daughter. So I was like, I really, really would love to spend more time home. So I actually just went in all in. And I had joined somebody that I had no idea who. I had never met her. And I'm pretty self-motivated. So, like, I always tell people, we're like so spoiled right now with all of the resources that we have, because way back then I had like nothing. And it that was the beginning of when I saw the vision for this industry. And I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And my posts, you would cringe if you saw them 8 years ago. And I actually got like was pretty successful pretty quick. I ended up dropping to part-time like 3 months in, and I'm like, crap, I'm making more than I am working full-time. For those of you who have never had a significant other that was on board, at that time I was with my kid's father, and he did not like approve. Okay. So did not like me being on my phone, did not get it, did not understand. But I used it as motivation. To be honest, my why back then, and if you've ever like heard me speak or do a Zoom, I always say, like, you have to have a why that will make you cry, something that motivates you on all the hard days. And my why back then, and it's going to change a million times because mine has too throughout this industry, but back then it was just to be independent. I didn't want to have to depend on anybody. I was in, an unhealthy relationship that I felt stuck in, that I couldn't get out of. And it fueled my fire, to be honest. I was like, I will show you, I will prove you wrong. And about 3 months in is when I really saw the vision, started seeing, income coming in. And he was like, oh, that's when he finally was on board. Fast forward a little bit, I was there for 4 years. And after 4 years, my passion was gone. People weren't winning. I attended a conference, I remember that year, and I'm like, I've cried every single conference, and my heart wasn't in it. I wasn't aligned. I felt bad even sharing my income. And at first, then all of a sudden my income started dropping. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go back to work. At that point, I was a single mom, right? I had a couple years in, left my unhealthy relationship because I was doing so well, got my own place. And those 3 years were like such a learning. I was honestly just that like single mom hype woman. I would have get-togethers every week, and but eventually it didn't feel right. I didn't feel aligned with it anymore. So when I had started seeing Lavelle, right, and Thrive, I was very much a hater. I am not a caffeine person. So for me, I had no interest in the product at all because I was uneducated on it. I thought it was full of caffeine. And I was intrigued by the business opportunity. So I started watching, and I finally, after saying no and ignoring messages, guys, let me tell you what, Aubrey, she never gave up on me, and she would check in. She never bothered me. So when I say like follow up with your people, definitely follow up, because timing's everything. She knew from experience, because she had went through the same thing as far as like switching and everything. So she knew what I was going through, but I was so scared, and I prayed about it. And I finally, one day she reached out to me and she said, Kaylie, just trust me. And it was like in that moment of time, it was the timing of everything. And I'm like, okay. And I remember wanting to know that more than one person was successful. So I'm like, I need all the details. I need to get on a Zoom with like all the people. So Amanda, Pekka, everybody got on a Zoom with me, and I asked all the questions. And that's why a lot of the times, guys, when I say like be a good listener, because you don't know what people need or want. And I promise you, they will ask the question. So for like me, it was okay. Right now, I don't even care about the product. I need to know, like, because that I'll try. But I need to know within this business that people can be successful, that people can, it's not just the top, it's not just one person, and that it's something that I can help change lives, because otherwise I don't want anything to do with it. And I'm like, am I able to make 200 or two grand in 1 month? And they were like, absolutely. I'm like, all right. So I remember signing up. I literally cried the entire day. I prayed about it. I was so scared. I signed up, bought my 400 pack, and I hadn't even tried the product yet, but a sample was on the way and it was going to be there the next day. So the next day before I got my sample, I was like having all the buyer's remorse. I almost called and canceled. That's how scared I was. It was probably the scariest decision of my life.
Well, and I think it's important for people to understand, like, by no means are we saying like you should jump around, but like, listen, I'm going to set the scene. All right. When I was in the same company that Kaylie was in, and it was looked down upon if you like got any kind of resources outside of that company. I'm talking about like YouTube videos, learning of any kind, trainings of any kind. Like it was not encouraged. And it was, other companies are bad. Like you don't support them. You don't order as a customer from them. It was like a really,
it was like a cult.
yeah, it was very much like frowned upon if you used another product or anything like that. And so we came from a place that it was just not accepted. So like, and this company in particular was very yeah, like the whole idea behind the product line. And to be honest, and that's why I think it's important coming from that, like we don't want to make other people feel that way, right? We always
Well,
want to support others
and
because
the thing is, guys, you'll know now here how different it is, but when I started, we were taught to cold message. We were taught to, like shun everything else out, and like it was just such a different community, but I would never change anything because it made me see the vision. I learned very quickly and saw what the industry could do and what I wanted, and you know what, it brought me to where I needed to be and where I am finally aligned with. So um like I said, I would not change anything about that. That was, everybody will be aligned with their company, and you'll find that, you know, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But the very next day when I got my sample, I tried the product, and you know, that's when I knew that I was truly home. I felt confident in my decision, and I knew that I was going to be able to help people. So everything had changed. That whole scary feeling, and guys, I think the scary feeling was also um the way other people were going to look at me. Because I mean, guys, people trust you. People trusted me. They had been following me and watching me. I built my network for 4 years. And you know what? I just shared and talked about how I had no idea what I was doing. And I think that people need to know that you just need to share what the products are doing for you. And that's exactly what I did. I earned my VIP bonuses in like 2 days and still had no idea. All I did was continue to share. That's all I did. I went live and people probably thought I was nuts. They probably thought I was on drugs. And I was just like, you all need this. I had my 400 pack gone, all my samples sold before it came in. And I had that excitement. And I still to this day get just as excited sharing a sample with a new thriver. And that's all I did. And, you know, at that time, that was, 5 years ago that I had started Lavelle, right? That I tried my sample, and it's just, I just shared and brought people on a journey with me. Um, I grew pretty quickly. I hit 40K in my second month, and then life happened. Life happened. I ended up literally dropping down to a brand promoter. I stopped thriving for probably 2 months. I don't even know what happened, right? And that's the beauty of this business, I feel like, is that you can, it's here when you like when you want to go, when you want to run, when you need to slow down. At that time though, I had kind of second guessed everything, and I was freaking out, and I went back to work. Um, and about 3 months later, 2, 3 months later, I was like, what the heck am I doing? I have gold in my hand. I have something people want and people need. And, you know, I ended up getting that fire back and that passion back. And I started over, right? I had put a message in like our group and our chat, and I was like, all right, well, who's ready to go? And if at that point, I didn't care even if anybody continued with me. I was just like, all right, I'm going. And if I got to find new people, um, and I ended up, you know, Andrew was in the picture at that time, and he wasn't even on board because he had knew my previous company. So he was like, oh my God, here we go again, round two. And, you know, it wasn't until he went on a getaway with me where he actually was on board and worked as a team with me. So it was for
That
those
was
who
the game changer. It was the game changer because then Andrew was all in and he was excited. And it had a lot to do with him not only seeing the vision, but also meeting people and meeting some of the other guys and seeing, like, oh, wait, this is doable. And then he started taking the product.
yeah. I actually forced him to take the product. Like 2 years, actually, no, it was like a year in. He refused, and we were at a softball game, and he's like, "Can you go get me an energy drink?" I was like, "No, but you can try my Thrive."
Mhm.
And he loved it ever since. And at that time, that's when he was like on board with the products, but not necessarily the business. He was like, "You got to get a job. You got to go get a job." And I'm like, I'll show you." So, that's when he was like talking about the product, and he would tell people to try it, but he'd push them onto me. He wouldn't do anything. But once we got to that getaway, he like one didn't believe that it was free. So guys, push for those getaways. If you have a spouse or significant other that's not really on board, let them see the bigger picture. Let them get in a room full of people and meet people and see that it's not just it's not just women, it's not just he actually made friends, and now he looks forward to seeing all those people at conference, at these getaways. So he kind of saw the vision with me then, and it made life and business and the balance between so much easier, to where we could work as a team, and it wasn't just, oh, here we go, she's got to get on her computer again, another Zoom. He understood what I was doing. My kids, ever since starting this industry, they were included in everything, right? So I've always had that conversation as a family, and they know if I'm busy working, or how we have the lifestyle we do, why I am home, why I get to be the mom that's always there for all the things. So right from the beginning, they've understand that, because I never wanted them to just have that, oh, mommy's on her phone all the time, right? Because that's not the point of this business. The point of this business is, yes, to make some sacrifices so later on you can be present. And I've
Kaylee,
never.
how would you, and here in just a second, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Oh,
although I
you're
didn't
fine.
mean to do that. But tell, like, I think some people need to understand what it's like when you're home, some of the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis, right? I know what you do because we talk all the time about this stuff. And you're really good about putting it out there for everybody. But I think so many people get so stuck on the scroll and chatting with other people and overthinking that,
Yeah.
instead of being efficient with their time, right? Because I mean, if any of you all stay home and you have kids, it's not sitting and eating bonbons all day. You're literally running to and from school, washing clothes, getting stuff done, going to the grocery store, going to appointments. You're literally fitting in stuff in the in between all day long. Like, it's not like you've got like 8 hours of solid
It's
work time.
hard. It's
Hmm.
hard. And for a long time, I felt like I did better with time management when I was working,
Yep.
because I had a schedule. When you're home, I mean, first off, I'm squirrel brain, but I'm like, I had to train myself and be self-disciplined, because I'd be all over the place. I'd bring kids to school, and then I would be doing something, then I would look at dishes and have to do them. So it was um it was very, very difficult to get used to. And I was someone who all day long was just all over. So I never was intentional, I felt like, because I was doing all the things at different times. I was missing things, I was missing follow-ups, I was missing messages, and I was going through a burnout. I was exhausted. Um, so a couple years in, I ended up actually bringing Andrew home from work. And I feel like this is so important within our journey, because a lot of people think, oh my God, it's so great. Like, you're both home full time.
Very important.
Yes. So here's the thing. It was awesome for a while. It was great having somebody home, like us being together and both owning our time. Um, but he kind of lost himself, and it really caused a like wedge between us, because when you have somebody who, you're both home and you're doing the thing and you're like the breadwinner at that point, you feel like you lose yourself, and he did, and it caused some problems for us. um he ended up, there was a lot of fighting, there was just not doing the things. And at that time, it was right after we hit 200K. So I hit 200K 3 years in. right before my 3-year mark, right? And he it was exciting. He was home, we both were home doing all the things. And, about a year in, it just wasn't fun for him anymore. Um, and I kept telling him, I'm like, you need a hobby. You need to go do something. And that was before, if you guys know us, like he's like a huge fitness person. He's like in the gym, he's training people, like all the things. He had gained so much weight. He wasn't playing sports, like, he's a huge softball person. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't going to the gym. He wasn't doing anything but just being here and helping with housework, and just he was miserable. And it wasn't until probably last year, where he finally was like, all right, I'm gonna go help my friend and get back to work. And it's been great since. And I I don't even know. It just made us stronger, I guess, because he had his thing, I had mine. I think he felt every time, instead of being excited at like conferences and getaways, it was like, okay, this is your thing now. Like I need my own thing too. And yes, he's a promoter, and yes, he does the things, and yes, he helps, but he just didn't have his own thing. And so when he started last year, doing what he's doing now, helping, it it changed everything, right? Because I feel like even in my business, I started like downfall. Like I wasn't excited. I didn't have that excitement. Um Plus COVID happened. I mean, everybody was whatever. Right in the beginning of COVID was when our business actually exploded. That's when I actually hit 200K, but it was after that. So it was just all the things. He had nothing to do. I was like I was stuck in a rock and a hard place. Okay, my business, I need to do this. And I had so much weight on my shoulders for taking care of everything, the bills, everything. It was all on me. And I think that just caused such a huge issue. And now it's so different. He's got his thing. I get to be home, and I'm now intentional, right? I'm doing my IPAs the way that I should be. I in a routine. And I just never had a routine because we were home. I mean, people were like, Holy cow, I'm so jealous." But I'm like, it's just we were going day by day. So now, it is I get to treat my business like a business. And I do that while he's gone, while kids are at school. And it's just changed everything.
I'm glad you shared that because I think a lot of times in this industry, people can hear retire their spouses, rewire their spouses. We heard that a lot in our first company. And honestly, there's a certain level that you weren't successful unless you brought your spouse home. Okay. That was like literally pounded into our heads. And that's just simply not the truth. And I think it's important to understand that every single person on this planet has to have something that they're passionate about, right? And what I'm passionate about isn't going to necessarily be what my spouse is passionate about. And it can become where you lose the excitement and it becomes a have to. And that weight, you guys, it takes literally the joy out of your business. And it literally starts to add this struggle on top of your shoulders that unfortunately your priorities get screwed up.
Yeah.
And it becomes so much about promoting and the paycheck. And honestly, simply said, from the beginning of this company, I did not want that, but I needed to travel. So I did. I did the same thing. I brought my ex-husband home. And it was probably the pitfall of the part of it. We already had our own issues, so that just added to it. But it really drove a wedge between us. And I can tell you that that literally is a very real thing. And then also just the added trying to work when your spouse is home is hard. It is very, very hard. So being able to, I definitely highly encourage each of you, if you do not have like an office space, which a lot of people don't, they have as many bedrooms as what they need. But I do encourage you that if you're trying to do this business, that you create a time period where you go to your room, or you set yourself up an area that you can work. Like I have a little movable desk because all of our rooms are taken right now, right?
I didn't even have a desk or a computer until I hit 200K.
Mhm. Yeah, I worked everything from my
Everything
phone.
from my phone until
Yep.
then. That was my gift for myself.
Yep. And I think it's important for you to know that that's all you really need, but
Yeah.
you absolutely have to set aside time if you want this to grow into something other than just a hobby, right? And you have to set aside time that you're being super intentional. And honestly, it's a duplicatable process, you guys. And that's why, when you hear the stories of people coming in fast and hitting these rank advancements, whether it's VIPs or 4K, 12K, and so forth. And you're like, man, how did they do that? Well, one, they probably have a network of some kind already. Two, they're probably excited and they were told to get these products in people's hands. That's what I was told. I was told, get as many samples out, get my first two customers, and find two people that want to do this business with me. So that's all I was focused on. I didn't even read anything. I didn't watch any trainings.
Dude,
I didn't do
me
anything. It was
either.
like ignorance on fire.
You want to know what I looked at when I first joined? No video, no training, no group, no nothing. It was the VIP 800 and 1600 PDF. That is all I looked at. And I just found two people who wanted to thrive with me and two people who wanted to make money. Two people who wanted to thrive with me and two people who wanted to make money. And I literally got rid of samples and sold samples like it was my only job. Like
So if you're hearing that, each one of you guys right now, I want you to ask yourself how many times you have a new person join you, and you add them to groups, you add them to chats, you add them to this video and that video, and you tell them 20 different resources. First off, I'm just gonna be real honest with you. If you did that to me, I would shut down. I'd be like, "Nah, squirrel, forget it. This is too ridiculous." And in my first business, my sponsor gave me a piece of paper that said I needed literally two promoters and four customers. Okay. That's what I needed for my first advancement and to earn my first thing. Here it was 2 and 2, right? And then it was get two more, get two more. Do not overcomplicate this. They need to share it, and they need to share what their results are and get samples out. That is all. Keep your new promoters with you, yourself, and maybe your upline if you're still uncomfortable about stuff, but don't overload them right away. You can add them to the dream team page because literally the welcome video, but honestly, I don't even have my new promoter there until they've made their first post, and they've actually shared their product. And if somebody tells me they want to get started and they haven't tried it, I get a sample out to them immediately, if I can, or they're ordering their upgrade pack. I actually hold them off in joining until they're able to get their upgrade pack most of the time. But if they're super insistent, because I'm not going to tell somebody no, and they want to order their upgrade pack, then I'm going to say, okay, let's go ahead and get started. You're going to share other people's testimonies until that point, if you're okay with that. And that's what they do. They talk about what they're excited about getting started.
and and here's the thing, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. Like we went through that hard time, right? And then after that, guys, I hadn't gotten 200K back in a while. And here's the thing, and I want to share all of these hards because that's probably my favorite thing about this Zoom is that it isn't necessarily training, it isn't necessarily hearing all the wins. It is about overcoming all of the struggles and knowing you're not alone and that you can get through anything. And the thing is, I this past year was hard. I went through some stuff that I had never experienced within doing this company and this business, right? Um, and it was some, best friends and leaders leaving. And that is one thing I like to share because I want everyone to know that if you have a why and like, here's the thing, anybody can say anything about Lavelle, my products, me, bash anything, and it's not going to phase me because I know what I have my hands on and I know what it has done for me. I know what it's done for my family. I know what it's done, for so many people that have joined us. I love getting new people started and getting those messages every day. Day one thrivers, right? It's so much more to me than just a paycheck. And this industry will humble you 100%. And I think it's the people who go through the hards, who know what it's like to get your power shut off, who know what it's like to get your car repossessed, who truly go through those things, who know what it's like to where you can relate to people. And I think that is the beauty of this because you can share that. Like, okay, well that didn't stop me and I kept going. And I mean, we have our hands on something that is life changing. Um, it's just a matter of looking in the mirror and taking a good can't even talk, good long hard look in the mirror. And I've had to do that many times and check myself. Guys, when those bonuses were out, and yeah, there were just bonuses, but I mean, there was a time where Andrew and I were making we both had bonuses coming in, and in 1 week, one of our highest paychecks was like 17 grand 1 week. And like you have to really humble yourself because, you know, easily could have fell off. Easily could have fell off and just been like, yeah. And I think that when you go through different experiences like that, and guess what? Later on, those bonuses were gone. And a lot of people quit. A lot of people give up because they aren't getting paychecks like they were, or, people left, or it's just not the same. But to be honest, I know for a while that I wasn't working my business the way I was 2 years ago when I hit 200K, you know? So I took a good, long, hard look in the mirror and we got back to leaning in community and doing team Zooms and doing opportunity lives and, you know, getting back to the basics, getting samples out, getting new thrivers. Like there was a time where I'd go out and I'm somebody who always talks about it everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. I listen at the grocery store. I listen when I go out to eat. I am somebody who will literally meet new people and new friends everywhere, right? There was a time where I remember I didn't feel like talking about it. I didn't feel like talking to anybody. And here's the thing, I feel like this is all like half mindset, right? Half mindset. Because if it's all full mindset, then you're not going to be doing the things that you need to do to get your business where it should go. I actually just talked about this in the boot camp the other day. But like, you have to find that balance with getting your mind right. And for me, my getting my mind right is probably not like anyone else's. Me, I go for a drive and blast my music and jam out. That works for me. And so you have to find, don't for me, if somebody messages me and I am not in the right mindset, I will not respond. I will not respond until I'm in the right mindset and I will voice message. That's all I do. I voice message all the time. People need to hear your voice. They need to hear your passion and your excitement. So what else you got for me, Amanda? Because I
No,
could
I think that's important for everybody to know because You guys, here's the thing. Everybody has different occupations. People, when you go to the store, you're going to buy different stuff that you want for dinner tonight. You're going to buy different certain kinds of shampoo and conditioner and different brands of things, right? So I think it's important that you can't allow yourself to be distracted by what somebody else is doing. I'm going to be honest with you, the longer you're in this industry, the more distraction you're going to have, because the more people you're going to be introduced to. And you're going to have team come and go all the time. Why? Because motivation is fleeting, right? It's like people have life too that goes on. And to be honest, like, yeah, we had the pandemic. I went through a divorce and I left everything that I had always had on my dream board behind, and started completely over. And there were times, like Kaylie was saying, like, I've had my electric shut off. I've had my gas shut off. I've had my water shut off. I've had where my daughter couldn't pick up, she couldn't eat lunch at school. I've had my car repossessed and foreclosure notices on my home. I went through those times and I had to work, where I went back to work during my divorce. I was working, writing a chapter in a book, finishing my BSN because I was busying my brain. But I was still trying to work my business. My PPA dropped big time, but actually I was like hustling behind the scenes. In fact, that's when Kaylie went 200K. And it was like, it was hard for me to put out this persona of positivity and being uplifting, because every time I would make a post, my ex-husband would message and be like, oh, it must be nice. And think I was like doing great. No, I wasn't doing great. It was one of the hardest things I ever had to go through in my entire life, is leaving a 20-year marriage. But I had to, because he wasn't going to take care of himself unless I did. And my kids were suffering and I was suffering and I was living in that atmosphere every day. So like Kaylie is just explaining the exact same thing, right? And what you're going to see is sometimes your best friends are going to go left and they're going to go right. And then sometimes those people are going to block you or say very mean things about you. Sometimes you're going to have your family make fun of you, block you, say that you're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to have stuff happen that you're going to lose rank, or you're going to have team that loses rank and blame the company, right? They're going to blame the fact that, or on the products, when in fact they quit working their business, they quit duplicating the stuff that got them to where they got to. But it's easier for all of us to place blame in other areas instead of taking ownership. And sometimes, simply put, you guys, sometimes we can just lose ourselves along the way, and you have to find yourself again. You have to find what you're excited about, what you're passionate about. And for me, no sooner time could this elite come into play, to be honest with you. For me, I needed to feel that excitement from like my day one Thrive experience all over again. And it just so happened to hit, the beginning of my 6th year in this business. And I'll tell you, your momentum, always know this: if you started busting butt today, is it likely that you're going to create this huge momentum in the next week, 2 weeks? Probably not. Okay. However, 3 months from now, if you stay consistent over these next 3 months, what do you think is going to happen to your business? Like right around the time conferences, what do you think is going to happen to your business? Right? Have been planting some seeds. It's important to know you have to plant the seeds, water the seeds, harvest the seeds in order for those seeds to grow. You have to share what this business can do, be a professional problem solver, right? Also kind of sharing what these products are doing for people, because people need to know. People need to know. So Kaylie, what would you tell people most importantly on a daily basis right now they could be doing? Say they have no promoters working, not a single one. What would you tell them? And I know that you have been there before.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Like, you are your own, like, you can be your own leader. Honest to God, it doesn't, I love the fact that you don't have to depend here on other people for your success. You want to be a 4K leader, go out and be your own 4K leader. You want to be a 12K leader, go out and be your own 12K leader. Like, I've really switched the way that I have done everything. I came into this, and I'm going to be honest, I was a mass promoter enroller. To me, it was a no brainer. I'm like, dude, you're getting products for free. You get to make money. Like, if you're already going to talk about it and share it, like, why not? I push being a promoter on people. And I'm going to tell you right now, good thing I'm like strong as far as mindset goes, because a lot of people, that would probably make them give up, because people were quitting, right? They weren't doing it because I was pushing promoter side on them when they should have been a customer and just tried the products first. So know that customers make your best promoters. And I have switched everything that I have done. I am back to sampling first and to customer first, and then switching them to promoter, because guys, it doesn't do anybody good. You don't need a whole team to be successful here. And I think a lot of people think, they think, oh, I'm only successful if I have a team, or I'm only successful if I'm enrolling people, right? It's not like that. And you need to get out of that, like, that mindset, because you can 100% get to where you need to be with customers. Like, yes, obviously we all want promoters on the to join us. We all want a team, but I promise you that will follow if you continue to share what the products are doing, because people are going to, they're going to end up seeing the bigger picture, and they're going to, that's when you can be like, hey, you've got, 4 referrals, have you thought about this? I just i i hate that people think that you have to and have a huge team, and they define that with success, because that's not. They define an auto bonus with success, and all these things. And I think people just get really hard on themselves, and they give up
Mhm.
before they even get started. Um,
Yeah, I
so
mean, focusing on helping other people win, you guys, for whatever that means to that person, right? So, like, if a customer comes in and, they are on a tight budget, then your goal for that customer should be to help them thrive for free, right? So, like, but if they really want that, they kind of have to be part of that process. They kind of have to be part of that process. And just like if somebody wants to promote and they need this business, well, then they have to actually post and they have to actually reach out and they have to actually do
but
it. You cannot
I
control
also
this.
I also make sure I share all the things. Here's another thing. I make sure I talk about everything. So for instance, there are people who, some people that have joined, they want community. And so every week I make sure that I'm touching bases on everything, because not everyone's going to want the same thing. I make sure that I am talking about, like, right now, if you guys are not taking a boomerang or screenshot or something when you're on Zooms, like, sharing that you're not alone and that you have a whole team of people who, like, to learn from and to help, like, that is huge, because a lot of people in this industry think they sign up and they just get thrown to the wolves and they don't have support or help. Like, people want friends. People want to be included. So I'm making sure that I'm sharing the community side. I'm making sure that I'm sharing about the trips, because some people, maybe they just want to travel. They want to earn free trips, right? I'm sharing about any bonuses that are out, because sometimes people need that opportunity, and our VIP bonuses can literally change somebody's whole situation within their first 2 weeks. So I will share that. So I'm making sure that I'm not just sharing one thing. I'm sharing all the different things, because I want people to know how Lavelle is different. because so many people put this industry all together in one, and it's not. It's so different. One thing that I have really changed and had to overcome was I'm very positive, right? You will never see anything negative ever on my Facebook, on my Instagram, nothing, right? I had to start being real with people as far as like sharing my struggles, and when I was having a bad day, that's one thing that I've also changed, is that I stopped shutting down. I stopped shutting down and not, posting for 2 to 3 days because I was having a bad day and having a whatever, my mindset was wrong or whatever the case may be. I started just sharing that because people were getting this image, like this picture perfect. And guys, if you know me, I am a hot mess. I am far from that. And I feel like I had to change this way people saw me, because they just assumed that I was this happy go lucky positive person all the time. And I had to share, like, no, I have bad days too. I'm human. Um so I really started just making sure I was relatable in every aspect of life, um, on my social media.
I think everybody also has to realize, like, you don't need to be Kaylee, you don't need to be me, you don't need to be Amber, you need to be you. Okay. And that's what's going to be what people know, like the know, like, and trust factor. All right. And I think a lot of times people feel like they just need to share the product and so forth whenever they join a business, and just all of a sudden that's all you share. But I really want you to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I want you to think about, who would you join? Who would you order from and why? What are they putting out there? Are you relating to them? What made you trust them? Like, ask yourself the questions from the person that you find interest, the product that comes across your timeline that you see, that grabbed your attention. What made you what grabbed your attention about it? Why that person? Okay. What are they posting about that drew you to them? Because obviously you had to have something in common. There had to have been something that grabbed your attention.
It
Uh, and then apply your business, like your way, yourself to that
it's all
same.
about finding your people, right? It's about finding your people, and I feel like a lot of people, when they start something like this, they're constantly trying to be somebody else instead of mimicking them. I have mimicked people that I have looked up to in this industry since I've started. You'll hear some leaders like, "Oh my God, don't copy, don't do this." And I'm like, "Oh, please use my stuff." Please, like, that's a compliment. Like, I love that. Here's the thing, you're going to, along the way, see what works for you and doesn't. If you're not sounding like yourself because you're using somebody else's post, it's different, right? And if there's something that literally sounds like it's coming from me, I will use it. I'm all about it. And a lot of people, I feel like, shun that, and they're like, "Oh my God, don't do that." But I've always copied the right cats. That has been my thing. I have mimicked who the people who inspire me, the people who I look up to, and I've just stayed close to the fire. I am the first person, if I see somebody um doing something and I want to know, I will reach out. "What the heck are you doing? I want to know."
Yeah.
Right?
I think that
And
not being afraid to ask the questions. So it doesn't matter who you are. Okay. Every single person watch somebody that they were inspired by. All right. And I have to tell you guys, you have to, none of us know what we're doing. Okay. Like, literally Google and YouTube were like my best friend when I started. Because nobody in my upline knew how to grow on Instagram, and I wanted to grow on Instagram. Guess what? Somebody said this yesterday, and I'm going to say this. And Kaylee, I know you've heard it before. Somebody said, and she's on here right now, she'll say, "That was me." She messaged me and she said, "Well, somebody told me not to do this." Let me tell you something. If it comes with passion and excitement, don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Okay. do it anyways. And I'm going to tell you that because there were plenty times in my business that what everybody else told me not to do, I was doing it. And guess what? I grew like crazy because I was excited about it. All right. And I was consistent with it. So even though everybody else told not to do this, I did because, and it drew people to me, right? I'm not saying that's going to be the case all the time, but if you're doing something that's creating momentum, do it. And if you do something and you mess up, that's okay. Just keep moving on. Don't worry about it. You did it, you messed up, keep moving, right? But never, ever, ever say you can't do something because, everybody said that won't work. Well, guess what? The secret sauce comes from consistency, and also attracting people to you. And like, you guys also, one more thing I gotta say, Kaylie, what would you tell people about growing their networks, right? Because you guys, it doesn't matter if you have 30 followers, you have 200 followers, like obviously you need to consistently get in front of new faces. Okay. So what would you tell people about growing their networks?
Well, if you asked me this a long time ago, when I first got in the industry, I pretty much grew on social media and that was it. I was the one who would like mass add 300 people. Now it's a lot different. Now I'm intentional. Now I make friends everywhere I go. A lot of people think that this is like, okay, a work at home in front of your computer, that's what's going to be best. You want to know who the people within this industry that are successful? They're out doing things. They're out meeting new people. For example, when we went down to surprise Amanda, it, Lacey and Chaz, myself and I, we were meeting people in restaurants and making friends. We had massages and I befriended the massage therapist and gave her samples, right? I literally, before I left, got her number, got her information, had her fill out a sample request. I just talk to people everywhere I go. And if you go anywhere with Chaz, you know that she will 100% make you if you are not comfortable, and she will do it. So that's definitely how I build my network now.
I
Um,
want to encourage you guys, if you don't have business cards, and even if you don't have business cards, like you can literally get like the little QR code on your
oh,
phone.
you don't even need business cards. Here's
Mm-mm.
the thing, guys, when you're out and you're having a conversation with somebody, I would hand them my phone. Here, do you have Facebook? Type in your
I
name
do.
so I can add you. Like that's all you need to
And I
do.
screenshot their face so I
Yes,
remember who they are. Yep.
that's all you need to do.
Yep.
And I mean, now, like I said, I'm more intentional,
Yeah.
right?
And also, I'm just going to drop these things on here, you guys, because these are old school methods, but it's also something that I really need to get back to doing as well. I used to put up like little bulletin boards in the post office and in different grocery stores. I would do like a free giveaway. If you have any mom and pop stores around you, you could do a free giveaway once a month, once a week, whatever. You could get like a lead box and you could put a picture of what Thrive does. And you could sit those out and people can fill out little forms, drop their information in, you contact them, they're a winner, yay, or they get a discount, yay. You've got all those 10% off coupons. You have mini experiences maybe that you got with your upgrade. So here's the thing, like utilize social media and always create the funnel, right? Always make sure if the sample goes out, they have their free account set up. All right. Because that free account, that person can be sharing and they have a referral link now. Always make sure that, if you haven't told somebody to follow the Lavelle fan page, do it. Get them in a chat if you need to, with closing the sale, or really if you're just getting started, making sure that you're getting that validation, because guess what? You don't know all the things. So making sure that person knows that they have you and they have somebody else they can ask questions to about, and then making sure that you're following up with your customers, making sure right now would be a really good time to go back if you've been in this business for 4, 5, 6 years, 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter, a year. Go back and reach out to some of those people that last year sampled when you got started, 2 years ago sample when you got started. Let them know about Elite. If you haven't reached out to them, get yourself organized, with note cards or in your calendar, however your brain works, that you can create some kind of system that you're reaching out and following up with people, because you have so many people that have already shown you interest that you haven't followed up with.
And don't think that it's too late to start getting organized, because I didn't get organized until like last year.
Yep. And
I I am the same way as Amanda, because I know we are all like the same. We just kept everything in our brain. We didn't use a schedule. We didn't use a calendar. We didn't use a planner. We didn't do any of the things. And I'm telling you, it will make your life so much easier, because you're not going to go through the burnout if you get organized and you get intentional. And I have learned that the hard way.
yeah, and like I said, if you are really struggling right now, don't be afraid to follow up with those people and let them know, hey, I don't know if you saw, but we just launched the new weight loss product, and I know that's something, like if you haven't typed in weight loss or appetite or any of those keywords on your Facebook. And also, if you are struggling to get interest, ask yourself, are you interacting with people? Are you going through and being intentional with adding people that you relate to, right? Are you joining groups? Are you interacting in those groups? Are you posting what it is that we have? Are you posting what opportunity we have? Because if you don't tell people, they don't know. Okay. They don't know they can make money. They don't know that they can run their business for free. They don't know that as a customer, they can get their product for free. Everybody seems to think that it's so expensive, but here I am. I've been thriving for 6 years free. Okay. And literally every single month thriving for free. And so a lot of people think they have to drop a lot of money on this, but the reality, if you're doing it right, you literally should be getting your products for free every month. And if not, and some people get this all twisted. Listen, if you make profit off of your business, then paying for your product is like keeping your store open. All right. Just like any business that your brick and mortar store, you have to buy the products, you have to buy the supplies. You are your advertisement, right? So if I have to pay for my product, but I made money that month, then I'm good. I'm not in the red. So if you are losing money, well, then you just need to be sharing it more. You need to get more people thriving, because literally you were basically working and operating as a customer at this point. So you have to say, okay, well, why am I not signing anybody? And it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that you just might not be consistent with your
Well,
business, right?
and a lot of people will be like, I'm doing all the things, I'm doing all the things, but yet I know for me, I was scrolling. I
Yep.
wasn't being intentional. I wasn't doing my IPAs. I was doing little things throughout the day. And that is why I was getting so burned out so quickly that I'd get to a place where people could message me and I wouldn't even want to respond. Right. So um utilize the tools. Like, I can't even tell you how much it has helped. I love learning new things from other leadership and getting on Zooms, and then applying it and figuring out what works best for me. Because I'm telling you right now, you'll never hear excuses from me. I am the person who is on every single thing, and you don't have to be. I've learned that, but I've never, any of my whys I've never used as my excuses.
Yep.
And um now I know, you know, I know how to say no to things. I know I'm not a people pleaser anymore. I care about my own well-being, but at the same time, know that, okay, well, if I'm not getting people in my inbox, I'm probably not sharing in my stories like I used to. And it's really just, I'm telling you, when you get a system down, it changes everything. I've talked about like planning on Sundays so that you're not overwhelmed. Like if you're working full time, I can't relate to those people right now, but I can relate to feeling like you don't have time to do all the things, even being home. Promise you. When
Mhm.
Andrew's gone, I'm like, okay, well, I got the house stuff to do, I got the kids stuff to do, I got my stuff to do. Like it can be overwhelming. And I'm somebody that really had to learn like structure and routine. And I would otherwise I'd be laying on my bed in my bed all day with Netflix on and going through and not being intentional and doing things throughout the day until I got kids from school. Like I'm telling you, and that like depressed me. It was so weird, right? So now I get up, like I get ready. I you feel better, right? You want to get things done, you want to do the things you want to share. Like today, for instance, after I get off the Zoom, because I actually got ready today, I'm gonna do some content stuff that I can use throughout the week. I have a box, a promoter pack that I got that I need to take pictures with that actually Andrew keeps bugging me to because it's got his elite in there. So I'm gonna take some pictures that I can use for posts throughout the week. So don't think that you have to like every day that like I have, if you see me post or reels or anything like that, I don't do everything that day or that like every single day, new things, right? I take pictures and batch reels and have things to use throughout the week because there's no possible way, even being home, that I'm gonna like, because you won't do it, right? Another thing that I want to say, because I know it's 1 o'clock now, is get to Palooza. I guys, every single person that had went, and I get it. Y'all have families, life, jobs, all the things. I promise we all do. But if any of you listen to Jason's call, like you have to prioritize what you want out of this. Like, are you in it for the long haul, or are you just tiptoeing in? Because I promise you that will change everything. When you get in a room full of people and you get there, listen, I had people the first year drive 24 hours because they all got in a vehicle, drove 24 hours from New York to Texas. We all shared a hotel, and which wasn't supposed to be a hotel. We were supposed to have an Airbnb and they canceled the day I got there. So that was fun. But it worked out and we figured it out together. And it was the best time. And you get so much out of that. I promise you, figure it out. Figure out the details later. Make sure you get your ticket and figure out the details after
Listen,
because
find out how many samples it's
oh,
gonna take for you to get your ticket. Find out how many samples that's gonna cost for you to split a room or split a plate, like split something for your transportation, whatever it might be. You guys, that's exactly what I did. And in fact, yesterday on my memories was 6 or 7 years ago. Wait, 2014. Okay, 9 years ago when I went to my very first conference. 3 months later, I made my first five-figure check. Okay. And literally, I was making $500 before I went to that conference. Did you hear what I just said? I went to my first conference. I was making about $500 a month. 3 months later, I made my first five-figure check.
and I'm not saying like, you know, not
Your
paying bills
belief
and go
grows.
into that. I'm saying grab
Mhm.
a loaf of bread and some sandwich meat
Mhm.
and some waters, and you know, you don't have to spend a ton of money there. I'm
No.
saying that you need to be in that room full of people that day. That's what I'm saying. However you can get there, like make it a goal right now if you haven't gotten your ticket to sell as many samples to pay for your ticket and use that to get there, and then, you know, figure out the rest after.
Listen, jump in a bathtub. I don't know.
We're a
Like
like
seriously, literally jump in a bathtub, somebody's bathtub, split a room. There's plenty of people. I promise you it will be worth it because your belief coming out, hearing stories of others that have been there, done that. And listen, conference is great and everything you hear up on stage and just being in that room, but really the testimony stories that you hear walking around, sitting there, out in the
Conference
lawn. That's
conference
where
every year used to be on my kid's birthday. Every single year. Every single year until last year. And I was still there because I knew that I needed to be there. I needed that just as much as everybody else. I needed that. So that's
Kaylee
it.
and I will keep talking all day
Yeah, we'll
long.
keep going.
Happy
So
payday, guys. Thank you for hopping on today. I will get this recording up ASAP. So
thanks
any
for
last
having
words?
me.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Y'all
Love
will
you
see
all.
y'all will see my face in the boot camp soon anyways that are doing it. So
Yep, absolutely. All right. Love you guys. Have a good day.
bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kaylee.